Aish, folks. Remember when Donald Trump was the big man in America? Love him or hate him, the man knew how to make a splash. And let me tell you, his waves reached all the way to Mzansi. See, Trump wasn't shy about throwing his weight around. He reckoned America was giving away too much money, especially to countries that weren't playing ball his way. And guess what? South Africa found itself in the firing line. Now, this wasn't just some Twitter beef, my friends. This was serious stuff. Trump decided to cut off a whole bunch of money that America usually sends our way. He said it was about our land reform plans, but some folks reckoned it was more personal than that. Whatever the reason, Trump's moves got everyone talking. Was he right to put the squeeze on South Africa? Or was this just a bully throwing a tantrum? Let's dive in and find out. Okay, so let's talk about this aid money. Every year, America gives billions of dollars to countries all over the world. It's meant to help with things like healthcare, education, and fighting poverty. Now, some people reckon this aid is a good thing. They say it helps lift people out of poverty and makes the world a better place. But others, like Trump, they're not so sure. Trump's argument was basically this: why are we giving all this money away when we've got problems at home? He reckoned America should focus on its own people first before trying to fix the rest of the world. And you know what? He wasn't the only one thinking that way. Lots of Americans, especially Trump's supporters, agreed with him. They felt like America was being taken advantage of, giving away money it couldn't afford. So when Trump cut aid to South Africa, it sent a message. You want our money? You got to play by our rules. But was that fair? That's a question we need to unpack. Now let's talk about jobs, shall we? It's a topic that's on everyone's mind these days. We all know how tough things are in South Africa. The economy is struggling, and many people are finding it hard to make ends meet. Unemployment is sky high, and it feels like there aren't enough opportunities to go around. Every day, countless individuals line up, hoping for a chance at a better future. One of the big debates we've been having is about how to make sure everyone has a fair shot at a good job. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. Some folks reckon we need more programs that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. Things like affirmative action. These programs aim to level the playing field. The idea is to make up for past injustices and give a leg up to people who were disadvantaged under apartheid. It's about creating opportunities for those who were historically marginalized. But here's the thing, Trump wasn't a fan of these kinds of programs. He had a different perspective on how to achieve fairness. He called them reverse discrimination and said they were unfair to people who worked hard and played by the rules. His stance sparked a lot of debates and controversies. Instead, he believed in something called meritocracy. This concept emphasizes rewarding individuals based on their abilities and achievements. Meritocracy is all about giving jobs and opportunities to the people who are most qualified, regardless of their race, gender, or background. It's a principle that values talent and hard work. It sounds good in theory, right? But implementing it in practice can be challenging. But in a country with our history, it's not always that simple. The legacy of apartheid still casts a long shadow, and finding the right balance between merit and equity is a delicate task. Okay, so we've talked about aid and jobs, but there's a lot more to the story. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. The global stage is where the real drama unfolds. See, Trump wasn't just shaking things up in America, he was turning heads on the world stage too. His actions had ripple effects far beyond US borders. For a long time, America has been like the head of the global club. They were the ones setting the agenda and making the rules. They helped set the rules for how countries interact with each other, things like trade agreements and climate change deals. These rules were meant to create a stable and predictable world order. But Trump, he wasn't interested in playing by anyone else's rules. He had his own vision for America and the world. He reckoned America was getting a raw deal, and he wasn't afraid to walk away from agreements he didn't like. This was a bold move that shocked many. Remember when he pulled America out of the Paris Climate Agreement? That was a huge deal. Or when he slapped tariffs on goods from China. These actions had significant economic and political consequences. Yeah, that was Trump saying America first. He wanted to prioritize American interests above all else. Now, some people cheered him on. They felt he was finally standing up for America. They were tired of America being the world's policeman and thought it was time for other countries to step up. But others were worried. They feared the consequences of this new approach. They reckoned Trump's go-it-alone approach would make the world a more dangerous and unstable place. The fear was that without American leadership, global conflicts could escalate. So what can South Africa learn from all of this? The lessons are complex but crucial for navigating the future. Section 5. From Jubilee to today, building a better tomorrow. To understand Trump's impact, we got to rewind a bit. Remember the Jubilee 2000 campaign? It was a global movement to cancel debt for developing countries. People power-forced bigwigs to listen. That's a lesson right there. When we work together, we can make a real difference. But it's not enough to just shout from the rooftops. We need a plan, a strategy to tackle these global issues. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't just start chucking bricks around, would you? You need a blueprint, a clear idea of what you want to achieve and how you're going to achieve it. That's what we need when it comes to dealing with global challenges like poverty, inequality, and climate change. We need a shared vision and a willingness to work together to achieve it. Section 6. Beyond the boardroom when business gets political. Now, we can't talk about Trump without talking about business. The man's a businessman through and through, and he brought that same deal-making mentality to his presidency. He believed in putting America's economic interests first, even if it meant ruffling a few feathers along the way. And, let me tell you, he ruffled a lot of feathers. But here's the thing. Sometimes business and politics can be a dangerous mix. When governments start picking winners and losers in the global economy, it can lead to trade wars and economic instability. And that's something South Africa needs to be mindful of. We're a small country in a big, complicated world. We can't afford to get caught in the crossfire of a global trade war. So, while it's important to stand up for our economic interests, we also need to be smart about it. We need to build relationships with other countries, find common ground, and work together to create a more stable and prosperous global economy. Section 7. The balancing act, merit, growth, and social harmony. Now let's circle back to that whole meritocracy thing. It's a concept that has been debated and discussed in many parts of the world, including right here in South Africa. Trump was all about it, remember? He often emphasized the idea that the best person should get the job, regardless of other factors. He reckoned the best person should get the job, end of story. But is it really that straightforward? And on the surface, that sounds fair enough, right? Everyone wants to believe in a system where hard work and talent are rewarded. But in a country like South Africa, with our history of apartheid and inequality, it's not always that simple. The scars of the past still linger. See, for decades, black South Africans were denied opportunities, shut out of education and jobs simply because of the color of their skin. This systemic exclusion has had long-lasting effects. So when we talk about meritocracy, we need to ask ourselves, merit based on what? What criteria are we using to measure merit? Because if we're talking about a level playing field, we're kidding ourselves. The playing field is far from level. The legacy of apartheid still casts a long shadow over our country. It affects every aspect of our society, from education to employment. That's why we need to find a balance that acknowledges our past while striving for a fairer future. Yes, we need to promote merit and excellence, but we also need to ensure that the system is fair and inclusive. But we also need to make sure everyone has a fair shot at achieving their full potential. This means addressing the inequalities that still exist. That means investing in education, creating opportunities, and breaking down the barriers that still hold too many South Africans back. Only then can we truly achieve social harmony and growth. Section 8, Mzansi's moment, taking the reins on the world stage. So there you have it, my friends. Trump's time in the spotlight may be over, but the lessons we can learn from his presidency are more relevant than ever. From global governance to economic policy, Trump's actions have forced us to confront some tough questions about South Africa's place in the world. And as we navigate these uncertain times, it's important to remember that we're not alone. We have a responsibility to work with other countries to build bridges, not walls, and to create a more just and equitable world for all. Remember that Jubilee 2000 campaign? That was just the beginning. Now it's up to us, the next generation, to pick up the baton and carry the torch forward. We have the power to shape our own destiny, to build a South Africa that is prosperous, inclusive, and just. Let's make it happen.